Go on, bro.
Yeah.
Well, in life, I feel like based on maybe the background that you're growing up in, the environment you're growing up in, it may be quite important to be street smart. I feel like being street smart allows you to navigate through certain environments that if you didn't have an understanding of certain situations, you wouldn't be able to deal with. Yeah.
I don't know what it means.
Exactly.
Street smart is kind of
want
just making it sound like I'm from the slum. And
Yeah,
and
that's
grow up-
exactly-
if he's gonna grow up in the slum, he needs to learn how to move. But
Yeah.
I feel like no matter where you go, you should have a good understanding of people. So even when you go into a workplace, and you know how snaky a workplace can be, like in terms of there's some people you just need to stay away from. Not that they're gonna stab you, just that they might report you to HR for something, for wearing the wrong shoes or something like that. So you always have to have a certain
awareness. That's
you
what
need to
it is
carry
down.
yourself in a
It's
certain
awareness,
way.
yeah, and kind of open and understand not everyone's gonna be like you.
For you, yeah.
And be open-minded to different scenarios. So I think I get what you're saying with the word street smart.
street
it's a difficult
smart.
one. It is
I
a
have
difficult one, but
I have an issue with the term street smart because street smart, when I first heard it, I thought ghetto, and I'm thinking, no, you don't need to know about the ghetto because we're not in the ghetto. But what I understand street smart to be is to just be able to read the room and read the situation quick enough before the other person that's trying to catch you out. So I like with my child, like now I'm talking, as I'm speaking to them, I'm like, listen, this is what a person looks like that you don't want to be around. Like, so for example, when we're going through Brixton, you have some people that you don't really want them to touch your child, but they will try come up to you so close, right? And I'm saying, okay, this is what a drunkard looks like. But without saying drunkard, I said, you don't want to be around that person. Or when they get older, just be like, there's a situation here, know when to run. As they get older, you start telling them, okay, I need you to be able to take the bus. I need you to be able to go on a tube and figure out how to get to this place from this place. If your phone gets low, what do you do? That kind of. So being able to read the room and know how to be in circumstances. But I don't need you to know where to buy weed from or where you need to.
I think it's about understanding survival mode, right?
Yeah, survival mode.
Yeah. So it's like, just understanding, like, because I'm sorry, I've met little kids that just have no clue. It's because their parents have kind of almost smothered them. Yeah. And they've made them believe that, and I feel like it's really difficult. You should not do that, for one, because your child's not always going to be with you. And you don't know who your child is going to then be exposed to when they do go to school, nursery, etc., etc. I think it's really important that they are aware of the outside world. And that's why I find it, when people do the homeschooling, I do understand why people do that, but I kind of feel like it kind of restricts your child from understanding how society and the world can be. I know the world is a toxic place, but, unfortunately that's life. And I think when you do the homeschooling thing and you kind of stop them from kind of getting to know different people and these different people could be bad people for them. Sometimes it's good to mix with a bit of bad and good. It's just life. So I feel, I think it is important that they are, what was it, street smart, because they do need to be aware of certain things. And there are places that you are brought up in, that are, unfortunately, not everyone's brought up in the best of places. Do you see what I'm saying? So, I was brought up in Tottenham, parts of Tottenham. Then I went to Enfield. Then I went to South at one point. So I've manoeuvred, and I've also been brought up in Spain. So there's like a lot of places I've had to kind of change, not necessarily change myself as a person, but get used to different environments and different people. And it is important because, boy, you don't survive. You do not survive if you're used to just one thing in life. Do you see what I'm saying? I think it's really important to expose yourself to different environments and different people.
Quickly add on to that. I think, so for me, like when people say street smart, I always think of it as like IQ versus EQ. So I think sometimes there's an emphasis on having a high intelligence and having an IQ, but if you see incredibly intelligent people, but they don't know how to sort of create relationships and have those sort of emotional like connections. So I do think sort of that street smart always also like sometimes in a way I define it as like EQ, being able to read a room, interact with people. And I do think definitely, like you were mentioning with homeschooling, I don't have like a particular opinion, but I think, you know, when you go to school and you meet different people, that's how you sort of form that emotional sort of intelligence. When you go to different countries or different cities or different areas, you sort of build that intelligence. So I do think it is important. I know street smart, but I always think of it as emotional intelligence to kind of destigmatize the idea behind street smarts. But I definitely think, like, for example, when you're taking a bus, you know, as a woman, do you feel comfortable going to a bus and it's really crowded? How do you maneuver those spaces to make sure that's kind of, you know, that emotional intelligence that perhaps you wouldn't really learn from a book or if someone was just to tell you. But yeah, so I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, because I grew up in Brixton my whole life. So, and my partner stays with me now. And we've got our child, so then we might go out and she'll be like, I don't want my son to grow up like these guys. I'm like, that guy's a nurse. Like, he just happened to be wearing a bomber jacket today.
Exactly.
Or I know that guy helped out, like he carries the bags, the shopping bags for this lady like all the time. You don't know the neighbours. So but she assumes that if he's gonna be like street smart, he's gonna be like, in the gang. Yeah. And it's like, but even but if you live there, you know that this is a boy with dreams. This is another boy that went to school. This is another boy that just finished college. I know that he finished college. So, but the stigma that will grow up when somebody is around these or becomes like these kind of people that you assume are just on the streets. It's frustrating for me because I still respect them the same way I respect somebody that works in the city, like in Tower London or whatever, because I know that it's just an opportunity thing. That if you had the opportunity to work there, you would be there. So I would never raise my child to be afraid to grow up in, and they usually are predominantly just black spaces. Like where black men live is dangerous for everybody. So then you have to be a certain type of intelligent to survive there. That's what we call it. It's like survival mode, which is true to an extent. Like you don't want to be out late at night. Same way you might have to navigate on a bus. We have to navigate in certain areas late at night. Like we don't want to get caught here or there. And there's no character that you're going to have. There's no intelligence that you're going to necessarily have that might save you from a random act of violence. Like it could happen to you anywhere. But it's just great. You just want your child to be a decent person.
Again, when we say street smart, I'm thinking the colour.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that way. Street smart, like what I wholly agree with your definition of street smart, is being able to navigate, maneuver, read the room and be around different people. What I have, like what you said your partner kind of is the gang life. Sometimes it can be associated, being street smart and me raising a black boy, I don't really want him to know about the gang life. I don't want him to know what this, I just don't want him to know. So when I think about, I'm also in protection mode. I want to protect my child from this. So are you saying that you're not going to protect, are we saying that we don't protect our children from certain lifestyles because it makes you street smart? I'm not saying that anyone said that here, I'm just, but there is that, some people are like, oh, you know, street smart is part of seeing this, being exposed to this. And I don't necessarily agree that my child needs to see people smoking or taking drugs or...
I'm not saying that he needs to be there or that any child needs to be there. I'm saying that just...
have respect.
Yeah, the avoidance of it to say that, okay, people that are here are bad. And you want to be where these people are because they are good. When neither is true. So that the people that you might see drinking and smoking on this day, tomorrow go to work. And they work just as hard as you. And the people that you assume are the good people do God knows what they do. I don't know them. I know these people. So I'm saying my experience is growing up with these kind of people who helped me, who hurt me, who did all kinds of things. And if I'm going to go to another space, which is a more clean-cut space, which is what we all aspire to do, we try and get out of these places so we can go and live in more suburban areas or just nicer areas where we can get nicer things for ourselves. But then our child is going to go through things that I don't know. Is going to go through a different kind of bullying because I grew up as a majority in my school. My child, we move out of the hood, he's going to grow up a minority. I don't know what that comes with. I haven't got a clue. So then, but it's not that he needs to be smart enough to be here. I just don't want him to be afraid of these kind of things and assume that this is bad and the life he's living at is good. When one day, all teenagers will do this. They will tell you, I hate my life, da 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 da. And I would be there thinking, I moved all the way out here so that you could grow up the right way. We avoided all the drinks and drugs and this, that, and the other. We moved to Blackpool, and lo and behold, I find out that the year 10s have been drinking. And these kind of things happen everywhere. So it's like, why am I gonna avoid all the things that the hood brings to go and live somewhere, to go and deal with threats that.
And you deal with different scenarios in different situations. It's like when I moved to Spain, I dealt with a whole heap of racism that I never ever experienced here, because you're coming from Tottenham, Bruce Grove, to go somewhere in Spain, and you're like, what? Like, you're aware of racism, you're aware of it, but it was rife there to the point you have my brother having to almost fight every day, and he was younger than me, fight every day because people were calling him black this, black that. And that's what I'm saying, like, I would prefer my child personally if I had the option of her growing up in Tottenham, because she is around a different, because, obviously Tottenham, it's majority, the majority are black there, but it's the balance of ethnicities is a lot more than you would have got in Spain at the time that I went. So, I think, like, it's going back to, I think what the problem with human beings, I find, is that we stereotype things very quickly. And that's going back to what you were saying with the bomber jacket and all of that stuff like that, and people feeling uncomfortable if they see someone in a hoodie. They might cross over the road and they don't want necessarily their child to hang around with this person and that person. And sometimes the people that you think look clean cut and are best looking are the worst ones. And that's going back to analysing and why your kids do need to be street smart, because they need to be aware of these type of people. They need to be aware of different types of people. Not everyone that is bad is from the hood. Do you see what I'm saying? And I feel like I've definitely learned that. Do you see what I'm saying? I feel like most people that are seen as from the hood are usually more loving than the ones that aren't. And I think that's what I feel like, personally, that's what street smart is. Being aware of your surroundings, being aware of the people, and kind of understanding environments that you're not necessarily used to, but you're aware of it. And that's why I think it's important that our kids do hang around various people. But yes, you do have to, as a parent, make sure that they're hanging around the right people and make sure that they're aware of people. Do you see what I'm saying? But I think there's only so much you can do as a parent. Kids are going to do what they're going to do at the end of the day. As long as you know you're doing what you need to do as a parent, I think it is very important that you do kind of make them aware and make them street aware. And I think you might, as a parent, not even be street aware yourself. So it's like, how do you then handle that? I think that's the question.
Sorry,
guys.
Oh.
We have to cut it there.
Oh.
Sick conversations.
So I was chatting enough, innit?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to have each of you do like...